Yes, that just happened. 3 power play goals and a dominating third period for the Dallas Stars as they roar back to a 6-3 victory in Game 1 over the Oilers.
You're Locked On Stars, your daily podcast on the Dallas Stars. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, Stars fans. I'm Joey Erickson, former producer of 105 Through the Fan. Please be sure to subscribe. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. And as always, thank you so much for making us a part of your day and making us your first listen. Oh my goodness. Did that just happen, Dallas Stars fans? A roaring comeback in the third period for the Stars, which included 3 power play goals to complete a Game 1 comeback over the Oilers by a final score of 6-3. I'm still trying to process what we just witnessed in that final 20 minutes of regulation. We're going to break it all down here on today's episode of Locked On Stars. Thank you so much for joining us here, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. I'll be honest, Stars fans, I was not prepared to be having this conversation with you. I had a pre-rant almost already locked and loaded after what we witnessed in the first 40 minutes of tonight's hockey game. And we're going to get to some of that because that still happened and it wasn't very good for Dallas. But we're going to appreciate what we just witnessed, an epic comeback by the Stars, and pretty much everything we talked about coming into this series was on display tonight, including the negatives, the stuff we hoped was going to happen, like the special teams, like the power play. The Stars go 0 for 14 last season. Kabang! They strike 3 times, and all 3 come in the third period after a horrific first power play. I mean, absolute deja vu from last year. Nightmarish stuff watching that first power play go to work for Dallas. But they figured it out. They figured it out in the third. Miro, just a wrister from distance, floats in off the body of Skinner. Granlund, I mean, that is a snipe. I mean, that is under the soffit and out. And then Duchesne, after ripping it off Rope's back, I got so anxious. I jumped off the couch when I saw the puck come off the end wall because it was a wide open net. And of course, Hens falls right where Dutchie needs to shoot it. And then he shoots it off his back and then finally comes back to him and he buries it. But we talked about all of this. Can you slow down 97 and 29? Can you contain him? Stars didn't do a very good job of that, except for the third period. Is the power play going to show up? Boom. It showed up in a gigantic way. You want depth scoring? Well, Duchesne finally scored. I was not happy with Dutchie's first 40 minutes. I really wasn't happy with anybody's first 40 minutes outside of Tyler Seguin. And we're going to touch on him too. But Duchesne scores. Then you get a goal from Heiskanen, right? Seguin with a goal. Or 2 on the night, right? Like, you wanted some depth scoring too. You got it. I mean, we got everything that we wanted to see out of Dallas in the third period. It would have been nice if they were a bit more awake in the first 40 and not just taking on water. And credit to Edmonton, they are going to be a problem in the series. I still have a lot of concerns because the first 40 minutes did happen, and I know the third period is going to take a lot of the bitterness out of the contest tonight. But my goodness, what has got, and I've touched on this throughout the postseason, and it's another comeback win for Dallas. They haven't scored very much first in hockey games. I think almost 8 out of the 11 games I think it was 11 out of the 15 now. They've been scored on first, something like that. It's not like they're playing out in front. They come from behind once again. The power play comes up massively. 3 power play goals tonight. You get some depth scoring, which was nice. You get some guys that really needed to get on the board, including Matt Duchene, who has just been fighting it. Maybe that will unlock something. Hopefully it does, because, boy, they're going to need a lot more out of him, not just 20 minutes of solid hockey. Wow. I'm almost speechless to what we just saw. But again, everything we talked about leading up to this series happened for Dallas in the third period. And this is what they have to do to beat this Edmonton team, because they are dangerous and they are a darn good club. You can see that. And we witnessed that for the first two periods. But if Dallas can score when they get their opportunities, they can win this series. They really can. They can win this series if they capitalize on some of their looks. Like Seguin, when he got that breakaway, I'm saying to myself from the red line, you have to score on these. You have to score on these. And we talked with Sam Dessler, DLS. What did he say today? Can the Stars win 4-3? Can they win 5-4 hockey games in this series against Edmonton? Because they're going to have to do it. Well, they proved that tonight, 6-3. And obviously the power play helped. Look, you take the 3 power play goals away, it's 3-3. And you take an empty netter, like Dallas loses the game. That's how crucial special teams, and this has just been the recipe for Dallas this postseason. They may get outplayed, but they're going to score and get saves when they need to. And they made a great kill, had a great kill in that third period too. After they went up, it was Bischel that took a minor penalty for hooking, and they had a massive kill in that third period to at least keep the Oilers off the board. And then they shut it down from there. It's another just dominating third period. It's a complete 180 to what we saw the final month of the regular season, when they were just blowing third period leads left and right. They blew 3 in a row at one point, and it was like, what are we watching? And that's sort of the same feeling tonight. Like, what did we just witness? five goals, 3 power play tallies. And what the recipe has to be for Dallas. The recipe for Dallas to win this series is what we saw in that third period. Can they elongate it for as many of the 60 minutes possible in each game the rest of the way? That's still going to be a big question. But what a thrilling victory. What a thrilling victory. The American Airlines Center was buzzing. Their roof was going to come off the building tonight. And I just thought really excellent stuff that the Stars were able to get to. And credit to Pete DeBoer too. He tried to switch up the lines. They weren't working. And he switched it up in the third period, and it helped. And of course, the Oilers' penalties certainly had a hand in what Dallas was able to do. But Duchene back with Seguin and Marchment, that looked great. And this is outside of just the power plays. They were finally able to get some pressure, just like sustained pressure. The first 20 minutes, first 40 minutes, just really passive, and allowing Edmonton to use their speed and creativity to their advantage. That's a really good team. And they move the puck so well, and they have phenomenal speed on the outside that I think it's going to be a real problem for Dallas the rest of the way. But it's going to exacerbate the issue if Dallas is not putting a body on McDavid or putting a body on Draisaitl. And we're going to get to that at the end of today's episode too, about slowing them down, because we also saw a recipe for success in this third period as well for Dallas on 29. Or maybe it was just Miro Heiskanen, who was brilliant tonight. He was so darn good. And now he's fresh because he didn't have to be run into the ground the first 2 rounds of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Oh, some of the work he did was chef's kiss. Thomas Harley had himself an off night, was not his strongest game, but that's okay. Harley, I think Harley deserves a night off for having a bad night. I think that's more than fair after what he's shown us. Let's just look at some of the numbers for this third period. At 5-on-5, right? Let's just look at even strength. Scoring chances, 4 for Dallas, 6 for the Oilers. High danger, 2 for Dallas, 2 for Edmonton. Expected goals for 0.51 for Dallas. It was 0.35 for Edmonton. So the special teams was the difference in this one, obviously, as you all know. But you look at the overall numbers at 5-on-5, it's all in favor of Edmonton tonight. And that's why we were preaching how important the special teams conversation was going to be. If you look at all situations, it's much more even, as you would expect. The expected goals for Edmonton, 3.24, 3.06 for Dallas. And that's where they did their damage. And credit to Dallas, credit to the Stars for not just going away in that third period. It was a massive momentum shifter for Miro to score 30 seconds into the third period. That was just so needed. If Dallas doesn't score on that power play, I don't think they sniff coming back to equalize that game. I could be wrong, and you could disagree, but Miro scoring 30 seconds in was just massive, and it allowed Dallas to finally get some momentum in a game where they really didn't have any. Again, just a remarkable comeback, and the special teams conversation looms large once again in a game for Dallas. And we have to highlight some of the tallies tonight, some of the goals, and the PK that held it down late for Dallas. And we'll do that in just a moment. Today's episode of Locked On Stars is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, just like we witnessed tonight, and can't miss moments. Whether it's game-winning shots or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. FanDuel's so easy to download. It takes 30 seconds. It's on your smartphone. You can look at some odds throughout each NBA playoff game. Pick the hot players, right? Jalen Brunson of the Knicks, over under on points. Those are the types of options. Take the Knicks money line and win some money this NBA playoffs season. And you also can play NHL. You can also hop in baseball this summer. There's so many different ways, not just the NBA playoffs. New to FanDuel, it's a perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If you win, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, let's dive into the power play first for Dallas. And credit to Dallas, they won 62% of the draws tonight. 62%. It was a big reason why they were able to have some success on the power play tonight as well. Outside of that first power play, which was completely horrific for the Stars, just could not enter the zone cleanly, were unable to find some space. And credit to Edmonton, they forced Dallas into some negative plays, and they had good sticks, and they just would not allow the Stars to get any sort of comfortability in the offensive zone. They could not enter cleanly and find any space, but they were great in the dots tonight. So Dallas wins 41 of 66. In the offensive zone, they go 11 for 20, 15 for 24 in the defensive zone. We saw Matt Duchene win 14 of 16 in Game 6 against Winnipeg. He goes 8 for 11 tonight. 8 for 11 for Dutchy. And that's where he is impacting the game. Sam Steele, 8 for 12 tonight. Sam Steele in the dots. But if Dallas wins 62% of their draws in the series or each game, they're going to be in good hands. But the Stars go 3 for 4 tonight. It starts with the Heiskanen goal. It's a great screen in front, too, by Mason Marchment, who actually had a hand in the entry to drag the puck in. Granlund moves it back to Miro, and then his wrister from 80 feet finds the back of the net. Then it's great puck movement by the Stars for the second power play goal. of the period. They get in clean. Some good work between Seguin and Heiskanen up top, sort of creating that triangle. And Miro just moves it across to Granlund, who's wide open at the right circle. Again, another phenomenal screen in front by the Stars. This time it's Jason Robertson who's providing the screen, and Granlund picks the corner. We talked about this too coming into the series. They have to test Skinner. They have to get in his crease and make him uncomfortable. You can't just settle for 18-foot wrist shots with no screens in front. So the first 2 power play goals happen because of screens. And then the third one of the period comes off a face-off win by Dallas, and they funnel it to the net. Rantanen hit the side of the net on his one-time blast, and then Dallas is just hungry to get to the loose puck, and Dutchy's able to just throw it in off some traffic. But again, it's chaos in front of the blue paint. Can Dallas get to those areas and win those areas? And they did that on the power play, and they just started winning battles in the third period in general. In the first 2 periods, like, the Stars were just slow, so slow, could not win a race to a loose puck. They seemed anxious, or hesitant is probably the more appropriate word, hesitant to make a mistake and not just go full blast at a loose puck. And in the third period, that changed. Like, they were the aggressor. They were dictating the play, and they were winning some of those 50-50 puck battles. And that led to some success on the power play and some face-off wins. And then, of course, Dallas was able to cap it off from there. Some more Tyler Seguin, yes, he scored 2 goals tonight. He was so incredible. Just an unreal game from Tyler Seguin. And I mentioned it after the first 2 periods on X. I know we're kind of splitting this conversation into 2 games, because it really was for the most part. But the way Seguin was playing, he was the only positive in the first 40 for the Stars. The way he was setting an example on how Dallas had to win the game, more individuals started to buy in the third period and play like Tyler Seguin was. Like, he was just hungry. He was so hungry to try to win the hockey game. Why? There was a lot of passengers next to him. And on the other side of things, like for Edmonton looked like they were on a mission, and Dallas was just in the way. Well, Seguin had some of that to his game in the first 40 minutes. And yeah, he gets rewarded with 2 goals tonight because of how damn good he fought and how much effort and energy he put in tonight on a bad hip, 2 bad hips. Like, that's awesome to see from your leader. From your leader, Tyler Seguin. And he deserved every bit of both of those goals tonight. And that was a great move by Sam Steele as well, who was instrumental on the PK. And we'll talk about that side of special teams. Some of the work he did along the wall on Draisaitl and McDavid in that third period power play for the Oilers. Again, we've talked about him. I've tried to highlight what just a remarkable player he's been, especially on the PK. But he does it again tonight. Just an active stick. He's putting bodies on Draisaitl, like he's throwing his weight around. He's not allowing them to get space. And that's what Dallas was able to do more of in the third period. They just didn't allow Draisaitl and McDavid to do whatever they wanted. Like, they forced them to have to go through contact. And Steele was so good on the PK. The Stars go 2 for 3 tonight. They get a big kill in the second period too. Like, that was huge. They needed to kill that off to have any sort of a comeback to keep the game 3-1. And it still felt like Dallas could have a shot after drawing the late power play in the second period. But good stuff from Steele, and he makes an excellent move inside on the 5th goal for Dallas. And then Seguin, that was a heck of a tip. I don't know if it was going to go in cleanly. It looked like it was going to go in cleanly without a tip. I could be wrong on that, but either way, Seguin makes sure it finds the back of the net and picks up his second of the game. I can't say enough about Tyler Seguin, and the Stars need more of that from other individuals the rest of the way. And he was the he was a spearhead tonight for Dallas is how I would describe it. He just was going to pull the Stars with him. And I know the power play cashed in, and Seguin didn't have a hand on any, or actually he had a hand on one of the power play goals, the Granlund tally. But like, I just loved what I saw out of him tonight. You cannot ask more out of a player like that who has gone through what he has this season. And obviously he probably comes in with the fact, like, I'm not going to have many more of these left. And I know the Stars are good and he's going to be around for a few years, but his body may not hold up for a few more, right? I think that's a real conversation, and he's going to relish this opportunity. And he was the star of the night for Dallas. He was easily the star of the night. First star, 3 points from Tyler Seguin. And just a roaring comeback for the Stars as they take game one, 6-3. All right, let's talk about slowing down 97 and 29, which is going to be an absolute chore. But we saw some of what Dallas can be successful with in that third period. So let's touch on that before we get out of here on today's episode of Locked On Stars in just a moment. Well, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl had themselves a game tonight. Draisaitl with 3 points. McDavid was Connor McDavid. Oh, the move he had on Essel and Dell in that first period, just jaw-dropping stuff. Just undresses the Stars' best defenseman and almost buried it on Otter. But all that being said, what we saw in the third period is what Dallas has to do as much as possible in this series. And they're going to have their looks, right? They're going to have their looks. They're going to play 24 minutes a night. Like, we know that. But they have to put a body on 97 and 20. You have to hit Draisaitl, McDavid. You have to hit them. They were untouched the first 40 minutes. Just completely untouched. No resistance. Then you see Sam Steele. You see Bischel. You see Lindell even throwing hits along the wall. You have to put a hat on McDavid and Draisaitl. You have to check them. You have to check them. I'm going to shout this from the rooftops today, Stars fans. So turn it up. Turn up the volume. You have to put a body on McDavid and Draisaitl. Take away their time and space. That's how you have to try to contain the best players on the planet. Can you take away their time and space? And I thought they did a solid job of that in the third period. And it takes everybody. The Duchesne, Robo, and Johnston line was a mistake. They were spending 2.5, 3 minutes, it felt like, in their own zone on some of these shifts. And McDavid and Draisaitl are just going around the zone like a whirling dervish, and you're just holding on to your butt cheeks, hoping they're not going to bury one on Jake Ottinger. And getting lost in all this is probably Jake Ottinger, who was really good tonight too. I think we should show him some love for shutting it down in the third period. But what Dallas did in that third period specifically is how Dallas can have success. Put a body on him. And I saw many Stars fans on Twitter's tweeting at me on Twitter's X, tweeting at Locked On Stars. Go ahead and follow us at Locked On Stars on X. You got to check them. And that's what we saw more of in the final 20 minutes. And even when Dallas was holding on to the lead, I thought they were excellent defensively, really strong and stout. After Dallas took a 4-3 lead, I thought they were really, really good in front of Otter, and they weren't allowing Edmonton to get to the net as easily as we saw in the first two periods, because it was just open sesame in the Stars defensive zone for the Oilers to just get to any area they wanted to and get some really, really high quality scoring chances. But they shut that down for the most part in that third period. And I hope to see more of that against Draisaitl, because they were awesome, of course. They were really, really good tonight. And it's going to be a chore to try to slow them down. But I hope we see more of what we saw in the final 20 the rest of the series. And I talked about that a lot. Remember, after the Stars season ended last year, they just didn't go after McDavid. They just didn't go after him. And they have to go after him. After the whistle, they got to let him know, like, we're here, right? There's got to be some intimidation. I don't know the right word, I guess, but there's got to be some resistance. Look at the way Florida went after him. Remember how the Panthers just mauled him in that Stanley Cup final. Dallas needs some of that. It can't be easy. It can't be easy. And you heard on the ESPN broadcast coming into the third period, Emily Kaplan reported that Pete DeBoer was stating, you're making it too easy on them, right? You're making it too easy. And that's what it was. It was just way too easy for Edmonton to do whatever they wanted at 5-on-5. And it's not like the Stars had a long stretch of domination at 5-on-5. But what we saw after Dallas took the lead, when Edmonton was stunned, and they should be, there was some better stuff at even strength for Dallas. They had a couple odd man rushes. But of course, at that point in the game, Edmonton's pushing in the final 8 minutes. So I don't know how much stock you can take into that, but it's something. It's something the Stars can build off of heading into game 2. And how they went about containing 97-29 in that third period has to be repeated every single game. And you may take a few penalties on those guys every once in a while, but I think you can live with some of those, because you have to send a message that you're not going to be allowed to just go right through us like a wet bar of soap towards Ottinger. You're just not going to be allowed to do that. That message has to be sent. And I look forward to seeing that and hopefully witnessing more of that the rest of the way for the Stars. But to bring it all full circle, everything we talked about coming into this series lived up to the hype tonight. It was a thrilling and fascinating game 1. Maybe not for Oilers fans, and I understand that. But if you're Edmonton, you're probably thinking, if we stay out of the box, we win that game easily. And you're probably right for the most part. You're not probably, you are 99.8% right. But credit to the Stars for cashing in on the power play. Again, Tyler Seguin was so damn good. His game score 3.15 tonight. That was second. That was second best among everybody in the game. And there's a lot of Oilers up top, as you would suspect. Sagan's the only one in the top 10. Granlund is the next closest at 1.51. That's how awesome Tyler Seguin was tonight. Oh, he looked amazing. That power, or that breakaway goal too. Oh, crisp stuff. Crisp stuff. Go right over the pad under the glove for Seguin. I'm still having trouble processing some of what we saw, but that was a lot of fun. And I hope it came out as clearly as possible on this Game 1 reaction episode of Locked On Stars. Thank you guys so much. We're growing astronomically right now. That's all because of you wonderful Stars fans out there. I appreciate you for subscribing. Please continue to hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, never miss an episode the rest of the way. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Locked On Stars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I know there's a lot of options out there. I do encourage you to go check out some of those other options as well. But for those of you that make us our first listen, thank you. I know there's a lot of great options now for you to take in your Stars hockey. I appreciate all of you that make me one of them. It's an absolute blast. And Stars with another dominating third period tonight. Power play strikes 3 times. Tyler Seguin, 2 goals and an assist. Miro Heiskanen is back. We didn't really talk about him enough too. We're probably going to have to get to him before Game 2 preview and plenty more. But it was a jam-packed episode. Have a great rest of your day, Stars fans, and we'll see you on the next episode. So long.